Welcome to Sinema, the movie and television podcast show that talks about everything dirty, mean, and nasty.
It rubs the lotion on its skin
in Hollywood and beyond. If it's sin, we're in. I am Brandon Luna.
I'm Randy Rankin.
And welcome to Sinema.
Cinema.
Today we are discussing the raunchiest comedies ever. Or
Nice.
raunchy comedies in general.
Braunchies?
Raunchies.
Braunchies?
Raunchiest.
Sounded like you said braunchiest.
Raunchiest.
Oh well. Sounded like
Raunchiest.
I heard braunchy. Okay.
Raunchy comedies in general.
I
Yeah.
thought comedies you watched during brunch or something.
During brunch? Is that like a difference in
I
brunch
don't
type
know.
brunch?
I don't know.
Brunchiest comedies with brunch in them.
Breakfast at Tiffany's.
So as you know, comedies have gotten raunchier and raunchier as the years have progressed.
Mhm.
I would say that raunchy comedies pretty much started in the 70s.
70s, yeah.
70s is kind of the pinnacle for raunchy comedies. They got pretty raunchy there for a while, into the 80s as well. Then they kind of rolled into the teen sex romp thing, which we've already talked about.
Right.
And then they kind of went away for a little bit. But then
Yeah.
guess who brought them back?
Judd Apatow.
No, before that, the Farrelly Brothers.
Oh yeah, obviously.
Yeah, Farrelly
Yes.
Brothers brought it back pretty hardcore in the 90s.
Yeah.
And then it kind of died off again, and now we have Judd Apatow.
Actually,
back.
between that and was the Frat Pack people.
Yeah,
Which I
yeah,
don't know who did those. Oh, actually, is it Aaron McKay? Adam McKay?
yeah. Adam McKay.
Yeah.
And he's still involved in that.
Yeah. Yes.
And then there was also a whole subculture of the black cinema that did a lot of raunchy comedies as
Mhm.
well. With the
William
the
Brothers.
the Wayans brothers did a lot of that stuff as well.
Yep.
So we want to kind of go over some lists here of some of the raunchiest comedies. And where does this list come from,
Mine
Randy?
is hostboard.com. I don't know who they are. But anyway, I thought it was a good list. And I telling Brandon, it's the kind of list that's good because good stuff, but some omissions. And omissions are what make lists controversial.
All right.
So we got 25. We totally forgot about this. Police Academy.
Mhm.
Definitely raunchy. That was in the 80s time thing. Kind of fed off of Porkys and stuff like that.
hmm
24 Blues Brothers. Wouldn't have thought of that as a raunchy comedy, but I remember my mom being the stickler she was for profanity.
Mhm.
Counted, and like the F word is used like well over 100 times in
Yeah.
the movie. So yeah. 23 Superbad.
Yeah.
Apatow,
Yeah.
Seth Rogen kind of thing. Clerks. Didn't think about Clerks.
That's definitely a raunchy comedy.
yes,
Yeah.
it is.
A lot of blue language in that.
Right,
A lot of
yeah.
subject matter that really hadn't been broached until
Right.
that movie.
Tell
Yeah.
that movie. 21 Bad Santa.
Yeah, for sure. And the batter Santa is
F me
even
Santa.
better. Yeah. I love that. I love that part in there. She's like, I don't know, my thing for Santa just happened when I was younger. It was just kind of maybe a dad thing or something. Or it's like, yeah, it's that way with me with tits too, or something.
Good movie. Drink old granddad in that movie.
hmm
Number 20 Slapshot.
All right,
Definitely.
yeah, definitely raunchy comedy. Yeah.
The brothers, what they call it.
I know what you're talking
Yeah,
about
they're
there.
hilarious. 19, and we've never talked about this movie, and I'm shocked.
Okay.
Kentucky Fried Movie.
Yes.
God, that's from the Zucker brothers.
The
Did,
Zucker brothers. Yeah.
Airplane, yeah.
They had their fair share of
They
raunchy
did.
comedy as well. Yeah.
I don't know about this one being raunchy, but it's good. Coming to America, Eddie Murphy.
Eddie Murphy was always considered raunchy because
Yeah.
of his language use. He was
Right.
kind of the he was the what do you call that when you hand the stick over to the next guy and the relay.
Straight man.
No, not that. He was the relay guy for Richard Pryor. Richard kind of took over for Richard Pryor as far as
I missed the first part of your
the
metaphor.
dirty language.
okay.
Yeah, the dirty
Yes,
language
you're right.
comedy. So it definitely had a lot of language in it.
Knocked Up, of course.
Yeah, for sure.
Team America World Police.
Definitely
Definitely
raunchy.
some
Anything that the
puppets.
South Park guys are involved
yeah.
in is
Is
considered highly raunchy.
15 Blazing Saddles.
Yep, for sure.
First time farts were glorified in a movie.
Yes, and a lot of racial humor in that.
Yes. 14 Fast Times. Thought that should be higher.
Mhm.
This one definitely should be higher. American Pie.
American Pie.
That should be a
yeah.
top 5 raunchy comedy of all time. I
Mhm.
mean, the dude does it with the pie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Did you ever get a chance to see the work print of that? Because
No.
I actually saw that movie about a good 6 months before it hit the theater. It
Yeah.
was a different movie.
Really?
It was a different movie. There was a lot of dirtier jokes in the unrated version than there was in the version that came out in theaters.
Damn,
So
I want to see it. 12. Forgot about this Bachelor Party.
Bachelor
Definitely.
Party. Awesome.
Definitely. Yes.
That's Tom Hanks
Tom
at
Hanks
his best.
before his
yeah.
serious acting days.
Before he got all serious
and
and
all.
bullshit Hanks.
Okay, South Park, Bigger, Longer, and Uncut.
Mhm.
Of course, that's number 11. Now we're to the top 10,
Okay.
which would have been more ironic if this one had been 11.
It should have been 11.
This is final
Because
10.
this one goes to 11.
It goes to 11. Another one I thought should be higher. Number 9 is Wedding Crashers.
Yep.
That's the frat pack people that are doing
The
funny
Raunchy
movie.
Comedy. Yeah,
God,
that's one of the best.
that's a stop down movie.
It is a stop down for me as well.
For some people, this is the raunchiest of the Farrelly Brothers stuff. I don't know. I like it.
I don't think it's as raunchy as I think it was. There was one moment in there that was
that's
not
the one-
seen in cinema before.
Well, but then the one moment with the
the
gel,
spoogie, yeah.
So that's something about Mary at 8. National Lampoon's Vacation at 7. Definitely.
Yeah, definitely raunchy.
Definitely. Number 6, Old School. That was the first one. That's where the term frat pack came from, was from Old School.
Yep.
Awesome movie.
Very
Number 5
awesome.
is my favorite.
Okay.
40-Year-Old Virgin.
Yep, definitely raunchy. And hilarious.
Your friend is shiny.
Kelly
Number...
Clarkson!
What's so great is that he really did that.
I know, and it was all one take.
What if he ripped the nipple off? I've seen it happen on Ridiculousness.
Oh my god.
Number 4, Caddyshack, of course.
Yeah.
Number 3, Stripes.
Nice one, yes. Overlooked a lot.
Number 2, Borat. We hadn't talked about
Borat is raunchy as hell.
Okay,
Yeah.
it is.
Anything Sacha Baron Cohen's
Did you
involved
see
with.
number 1 yet?
I didn't see number 1.
Okay, think real quick. What hasn't been mentioned?
I don't know, man.
Probably the grandfather of
Animal House?
Animal House.
Yeah, it has to be Animal House, yeah.
That's a good list.
Mhm.
Stuff that are missing would be Porkys. Porkys was huge in the 80s. And
Very huge.
that started
Raunchy
the
comedy.
teen Raunchy comedy there big time.
For sure.
And so what's your list? Anything on
I have
your
a different
list?
list here, yeah. I actually cut off number 1, unfortunately, but number 2 is Animal House, which we definitely have already mentioned. We agree with. Bachelor Party, number 3. Blazing Saddles, number 4. Breakfast Club. Really?
Raunchy?
I don't know about that. It was definitely something different for teens. It was a little more,
adult teen-like.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say it was raunchy. Bull Durham is listed.
That was should have been on this list.
Yeah. Caddyshack, Clerks, Fargo.
Dark
I don't
comedy.
know. Dark comedy, I wouldn't say it's necessarily raunchy. Fast Times, yes. Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead gets a double feature. Which, those are both pretty raunchy.
Yeah.
In Bruges, which if you haven't seen In Bruges,
I haven't seen that.
it's funny as hell. It's a dark comedy and it's
right.
really good. In the Loop, which is awesome.
That's
In the Loop is awesome. Featuring the new current Doctor Who. He's awesome in that. He's hilarious in that. The Jerk. Yes, The Jerk. You could also put in there Man with Two Brains.
Yeah.
Was pretty darn raunchy for the times. And if you want to go another alum, Seems Like Old Times. Was pretty darn raunchy when it came out.
That scene where he's hiding under the bed, and he gets out, and Charles Grodin leaves. Chevy Chase gets out front of the bed, and just, do you see the look on his face? It's like, no, but shoes didn't look too good. She goes, wipe that stupid smirk off your face. He goes, I tried a serious smirk. It didn't feel right.
The guy was funny. The guy was funny.
Movie. But back to the one before that, though.
Yeah.
The one before Seems Like Old Times.
The
Jerk.
The Jerk. Yes, The Jerk.
And I should be able to send you more money next week because she's promised me a blowjob. Great movie.
This is a great one that has been missed on many lists, but I still think it's pretty raunchy. It probably tamed today's standards, but I still think it's a great film. Major League.
Yes, definitely.
Major League.
So Bull Durham and Major League made that list, but not the man list.
Exactly. MASH was definitely considered a raunchy comedy when it came out.
Hot Lips.
National Lampoon's Vacation, Police Academy, Porky's is a must-have.
Porky's made that one.
Road Trip, which was pretty darn raunchy for the time, especially the unrated version, and some hilarious stuff in there. I mean, I was never really a fan of
Tom Green.
Tom Green, but he was funny in that movie. He was given in small doses. Tom Green is hilarious, and that was definitely.
And the dude from Splinter was funny in it too.
Yeah, exactly.
What's his name? Paul Costanza.
Yep. Team America World Police, Trading Places.
Yes.
Which was considered raunchy at the time.
Jamie Lee's boobs.
Yes, fantastic boobs. Tropic Thunder, which was very raunchy, and When Harry Met Sally.
Well, the orgasm scene, maybe.
I guess.
I'm talking about making a girl meow.
Yeah. You actually made a girl meow? That's a greatness. Greatness.
It is awesome.
So, raunchy comedies have had their time, and they've come and gone, but they always seem to come back. And I think that Hollywood is finally understanding really how comedy works. I mean, you've got a certain group of people that are going to like the more sedate comedy, like the Woody Allen stuff, or the old guy falls in love with the girl, and then Good as It Gets or whatever.
Yeah.
But for the most part, when you're looking at something that's going to make you bust a scene, it's all about the raunchy comedy.
Hall Pass did make the list. Hall
Pass is definitely
really raunchy. I think that's
comedy.
way raunchier than There's Something About Mary.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe not be as funny a movie, but it's.
And for that matter, Horrible Bosses is pretty damn
Aniston
raunchy
is raunchy as hell in that movie. Yeah,
very much so.
Where the Millers was pretty raunchy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that kid makes out with Emma Roberts and Jennifer Aniston.
Lucky bastard.
Got paid to do that.
That lucky son of a bitch. What a dick.
I hate that kid. I hope he never succeeds again.
He's
He's hit his peak. He could never.
That's it, buddy. You're done. Stop acting. You're not going to make out with two hotter chicks. Ever. All right, so we're going to take a little break. We'll come back for the second portion of the show. All right, we're back for segment 2 of Sinema, and the discussion is Raunchy Comedies.
Yes.
So probably for me, growing up in the 80s and stuff, the Raunchy Comedies really kind of started for me with the Zucker brothers.
Yeah.
They were the guys that kind of really kicked it off and really kind of brought that to the next level, as it were.
Wrapped around satire at the same time.
Exactly, yeah, very much so. So Airplane was a pretty damn raunchy comedy. There's a lot of jokes in there that you didn't get as a kid that you watch now and go, wow, that was pretty raunchy.
Remember I used to sit on your face and wiggle or whatever she said? What? That don't even make sense.
When you're a kid, makes sense now.
Yes.
Yep. And, surprise,
and the random naked chick.
With random surprise boobs, yes. I was like, what? There's boobs, what?
Rewind it.
Exactly. Top Secret was also pretty darn funny, but not necessarily as raunchy. There's still some raunchy stuff in there.
That was Val Kilmer's first big thing, wasn't it?
Exactly, yeah. Ruthless People had a lot of raunchy jokes in it,
funny.
But it was still, considered a pretty normal comedy for the time. Now, the Naked Gun stuff was just raunch wrapped around
awesomeness.
Yeah, it was just, they were as raunchy as it can. Nice beaver.
Thank you, I just had it stuffed.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Just so many raunchy jokes that you don't get as a kid, and you watch them now and you're like, wow.
It's so sad nowadays to see Priscilla Presley when she was so hot in the first Naked Gun movie.
I know.
But,
I mean, there's a lot of comedies that are like that. I mean, you can
Zuckers,
watch the Bugs Bunny stuff and get a lot of adult humor in those, that you didn't get as a kid. But the Zuckers were masters at it, man. They really were.
And if you haven't seen Kentucky Fried Movie, watch it. It's vignettes.
Mm-hmm.
It's a series. Oh, there's another one similar to that called Amazon Women on the Moon, which is very similar.
Yep.
Totally a ripoff of Kentucky Fried Movie.
Yes, very much so, yeah.
But, there's that scene where the girl keeps smacking her boobs and against the shower walls. Like, But one of my favorite lines in Kentucky Fried Movie is that court scene, and the lawyer says, "Your Honor, I'd like for the witness to listen to a tape." And he starts unwrapping a tape, so it's like, that's the tape.
Wow,
genius. But then they segued that into, or parlayed that into Airplane, and then the Naked Gun stuff, just funny stuff.
Yeah, then you get into the '90s, and they did Basketball with the guys from South Park, and it was about as raunchy as it got. There's that scene in there when they find the dildo in the drawer. And he's like, "This is her dildo," and then one guy's licking it up, and then he finds the big panties, and it's the mom's. I'm like, oh man!
Speaking of dildo,
God,
Skin Deep. Did you ever see that?
With
John Ritter.
Yeah,
where he's got
dirty movie.
Glow in the dark vibrator,
and they have the sword fight. Oh my God, it's hilarious. That's Neil Simon, man.
Yeah,
he brought the raunch, before really anybody else pretty much did.
Neil Simon write that? I know. Yeah. Julie Andrews' husband directed it. Blake
Edwards, yeah, Blake Edwards and Neil Simon, Scary movies, those got pretty darn raunchy, and those were all part of the Zuckers thing.
I'm glad that they brought Leslie Nielsen in for the president scene with the guy with the. God, that's funny. But the Zucker brothers. I watched the Tonight Show. I don't remember if it was Carson or Leno, and they had Charlie Sheen was on, and he said, "My brother and I, we're watching Airplane." And all of a sudden, like halfway during the movie, we turned to each other, and I was like, "This movie speaks to me." And my brothers and I, when we heard that, we're like, "Yeah, it does." Well, speaking of Hot Shots, that was the Zucker brothers. Also. Yeah,
it was. Yeah,
first one was funny. I didn't like part 2 much.
No, but, and then people tried to. Was it that Loaded Weapon? National Lampoon's Loaded Weapon tried to copy that.
I thought that was funny actually. That's the first time I ever saw Samuel L. Jackson. Was in that movie.
It was okay. It had its moments, but overall, it was kind of crap. So after the Farrelly brothers, or after the Zucker brothers kind of, or Zucker and Abrams kind of trailed off, there was a void there in cinema, and the Farrelly brothers filled it quite nicely.
Starting off with Dumb and Dumber.
Dumb and Dumber in the 90s, and then you get into Kingpin, which is probably one of the raunchiest comedies out there. I mean, it's just
Me, Myself, and Irene. That famous scene we talk about all the time.
Oh my God. Something About Mary as well. And then they
remember the sucking that girl's boob. And he's like, said he apologized profusely after that scene because they were like, play it up as big as you can.
Yeah. Yep.
Liar Liar was pretty raunchy too. I don't know
Yeah.
who directed that or anything.
Yeah. And then he had a kid-friendly movie from the Farrelly Brothers, Osmosis Jones, which kind of failed at the box office. And then they came back with The Raunch and Shallow Hal. It was okay.
I like Shallow Hal.
Stuck on You, which I never saw.
Must see.
Really?
It's not. I'm not saying it's the greatest movie. Blah blah blah. But I did not want to see that movie and laughed my ass off at it. Very funny movie.
Really? No.
Yeah.
I'm okay with Blackjack, but in small doses.
Yeah. It was
probably
funny.
why I didn't see the movie, but yeah. And
Blackjack or Jack Black?
Jack Black. Did I say Blackjack? I like Blackjack. It's a fun game.
It's Blackjack.
Jack Black. Yeah. And then they went kind of soft on us. And they did Heartbreak Kid and Fever Pitch.
Heartbreak Kid had some rocks to it though.
Did it really?
Yeah.
I never saw that. Never saw that or Fever Pitch.
Fever Pitch. The Heartbreak Kid. Have you seen the Charles Grodin one?
I saw the Charles Grodin.
And I like Charles Grodin, but that one didn't get me. That one was funny.
And then they came back raunchy with Hall Pass. Hall Pass is up there.
God.
It's there's a scene in there that you've probably seen as a internet thing on YouTube, but you got to see it in context. It's hilarious.
Well, there's two.
Yeah, there's two. Yeah, there's two.
You must be from Ireland. Love that joke. Love that joke.
And Three Stooges had a lot of raunch in it.
It did.
Yeah, it did.
And I liked it. But the Farley brothers took the Zuckers to another level. But you could tell there was inspiration there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
And it all starts in the '70s with the National Lampoon thing. And I don't know, did you ever read National Lampoon as a kid?
I did.
Yeah.
And Mad Magazine.
Mad Magazine. Yeah. But those both really kind of set the precedent for, in print at least, for what was considered raunchy. And I, as a kid, I loved Mad Magazine, and I'm glad my parents didn't read it because it was pretty bad. I mean, it was pretty bad. And then Marvel did their own version of it called Cracked. Did you ever read Cracked?
I remember Cracked.
It wasn't as funny. It was a lot more violent and brutal, and kind of they went off the edge on some stuff.
Superhero-ish than
they had there was a thing in Cracked that I remember seeing as a kid that really disturbed me. It was like their version of the backstory for Casper the Friendly Ghost. And it was like, drunk dad killed the mom in front of him and then killed him, and that's why he became a ghost. And I'm like, that's not funny at all.
Funny or friendly.
Yeah, that's horrible.
Kid's not going to become friendly.
Yeah, and then he goes with Wendy and finds his father and kills him, throws him off a cliff and stabs him a bunch of times.
I remember that. Actually.
Wow.
Dark.
Yeah, and that was for kids. That was for kids. For kids. It's awesome. So yeah, man. All right, so we're gonna take another break real quick. We'll come back for the last third and talk about the last third.
This isn't a cigar review.
Yeah, it's not a cigar review.
It's the last third.
We are smoking cigars. Last third of the show, and talk about the new people that have taken over for the Farrelly Brothers. And the Farrelly Brothers are back. They're back with a vengeance, but there's somebody else.
And you know who you are.
They do. We'll be back. All right, we're back for the last segment of Sinema. We're talking about raunchy comedies. And as you get into the 2000s, there was kind of a little bit of a void between late 90s and early 2000. And someone there that had some experience in television, actually, with a couple of shows that, if you ever to watch these shows,
they're funny.
They're funny shows, and 90% of the people that are in these shows are now ruling comedy as a whole. You got Freaks and Geeks, which had a lot of people in it
James
that you might know.
Rogen,
yep. Undeclared also had a bunch of people in it. And then they went and did something else called 40-Year-Old Virgin. Have you ever heard of it?
Yes, I have.
Yeah. I hear it's pretty good.
It's okay. It's my favorite comedy, but that's great.
Judd Apatow.
Yeah.
And that guy has been ruling the roost for a while.
And he's, you're big when you've got offshoots. That kind of came under your umbrella,
For sure, yeah.
And he's got those.
He definitely has those, yeah. So
40-Year-Old
Virgin is hands down one of my favorite comedies. I mean, it's definitely in the top 10 for me as far as comedies go. It's just it's a stop down. Anytime it's on, you watch it. I have it on DVD. I haven't yet pulled the trigger on Blu-ray, but I'll get it because it's just a great movie. I mean, it brought Steve Carell to a new level. He was already funny on The Daily Show. He hadn't really done a whole lot besides little bit parts here and there, and it made him a leading man.
It did. And the funny thing is he's like one of the most straight-laced people in Hollywood. He's a family guy, a sweet guy, and yet he and Judd write this raunchy comedy. But he was the perfect person to play that part.
He really
Nobody
was.
could have played that.
He really
had
was.
the innocence that Carell brought to that role.
Did you see it in the theater?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. I saw it in the theater based on the poster alone because I thought the poster was freaking hilarious. I just saw it and I'm like, oh, that is.
I'm in.
I got
that dorky look.
Just the title and the poster sold me, and the marketing seldom works on me, but that one. It just really, I wanted to see that movie. We saw it as a screening before it actually came out, and my wife and I were just like That was the funniest damn movie I've seen in a long time,
The-
and still is.
he tells the story because he'd never done anything big.
Mhm.
He says they're driving around L.A. and there's posters all over town. One of his kids says, "What's a virgin?" Oh, no. that
Yikes.
movie took it all to a whole new level. And the funny thing is, ironic thing is that Wedding Crashers came out that same year, that same summer.
Yeah.
And people were arguing, but which is the best comedy? Which was the better comedy? And it's too bad they both came out the same year because they both kind of split the vote on that.
Yeah.
But
I think I watched 40-Year-Old Virgin before I watched Wedding Crashers, but I do like Wedding Crashers.
Yeah.
Wedding Crashers just has one thing that Vince Vaughn gets on my nerves after about 20 minutes. So for me, it's,
their dialogue, the way they can carry on a conversation is incredible.
Yeah.
They get each other's timing, and there's an internship on that raunchy. I still got some of that.
The stripper scenes.
Oh, yeah. What am I talking about? That was incredibly
That
raunchy.
was incredibly
Totally forgot
raunchy.
about that.
I don't know how you do it, man.
You got some stamina. How much more you got in there?
That was great.
But back to Epitome. So he goes 40-Year-Old Virgin and then Knocked Up.
Knocked Up, yeah. Knocked Up was just, that was
Seth Rogen
to the
leading
forefront.
man.
Yeah, leading man status. Which you never, and Seth Rogen was a writer, he was just a guy who was writing stuff.
Well, he was on Freaks and
He
Geeks.
was on Freaks and Geeks. He was acting, but for the most part, his deal was writing. And
yeah.
now he's in the forefront doing all these movies, and it's just not what you would consider the Hollywood leading man.
Right.
He's more, you could see him as a Hollywood leading man in the 70s, but,
right.
in today's economy, it's like, that's weird that he is a leading man. But he's funny. He brings the funny.
He brought, he was an insensitive jerk and Knocked Up, but he brought some pathos to it also. You did kind of start to see he does have a heart, and I thought he has a great performance in that movie.
Yeah, for sure.
Then Superbad came after that.
Mm-hmm.
Not one of my favorite movies, but there are some really funny parts.
It's a movie that's funnier the more times you see it.
The scene where what's his face has to sing "These Eyes" by the Guess Who.
Yeah.
Is it Michael Cera?
Yeah.
That scene cracks me.
Michael Cera annoys me to no end, but he is funny in
pulls off
certain
funny
movies,
stuff,
and he's
man.
funny in that. So then you get into the Adam McKay stuff, who was an offshoot, and he does a lot of stuff with Will Ferrell, and Will Ferrell definitely brought the raunch to comedy with Anchorman. Was definitely a very raunchy comedy at the time. That's still pretty raunchy.
Well, he was also an old school.
Yep.
And then that's probably where he started his "I have to show my naked ass"
in every movie. Yeah, that's part of his contract probably. I think at this point. So
Step Brothers, of course,
Step Brothers
wasn't on either list.
Yeah, Talladega Nights. It's another one that's pretty darn raunchy. You get into Adam McKay. Even if you get into television side of things, Adam McKay produces and writes and directs Eastbound and Down. Very raunchy comedy for television. And then you got Anchorman 2 and a couple other things. So these guys.
Adam McKay, he did a movie that I thought was genius, and it bombed at the box office. He's annoying in it, but the rest of the movie's awesome. That was Wanderlust.
Okay, yeah.
With Jennifer Aniston and Paul Rudd. Have you seen that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've seen
God,
that
movie's funny.
Yeah, that's her husband now, right? The one guy who played the hippie dude or whatever. Yeah.
But there's some raunch in that, and that's a funny movie. He was the dick brother-in-law, Adam McKay. God, he was a dick in that movie.
Yeah, he was.
Almost a not funny level, but yeah. So there's some good. I'm glad that it's still going. Like we talked with the interview in the last episode.
Yeah.
They're really trying to push it now because they've already accomplished, because of these greats that we've mentioned.
Yeah.
So much territory has been covered that they're trying to find new avenues to take comedy to the next level.
For sure. And I mean, what's funny is what was considered raunchy in the 70s, like, Animal House was considered like the raunchiest thing going.
Oh, yeah.
You watch it now and it's really pretty tame. I mean, there's a couple things in there
right,
that still are kind of, would be considered shocking. But for the most part, they're not anywhere near what you would consider raunchy nowadays. Meatballs is another one that was considered raunchy at the time. It had kids in it, like, oh my God, kids are saying bad words, and Bad News Bears for that matter. Kids cussing, all over the place in that movie.
The Billy Bob version wasn't bad.
I like the Billy Bob version, yeah.
But Walter Matthau was just so awesome in that first one, in the original. But
kind of hard to top Walter Matthau on that, yeah.
And
if you want to get into raunchy comedies with old people, grumpy old men.
It's in the outtakes.
Yeah. Oh, it's great.
When they're looking out the window, and Margaret.
Yeah.
And Burgess Meredith, of all people, says he's going to take the skin boat to Tuna Town. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's awesome. What's funny is Jack Lemmon's one of these guys that you hear about him as an actor, and he always did a lot of really kind of straight up comedy stuff, and he was kind of a straight man in a lot of stuff. But to hear people talk about him as a person, he would cuss like a sailor.
Oh yeah,
And you really seldom saw that in cinema
Right.
until his later years,
Right.
Glengarry Glen Ross and
the Grumpy Old
Grumpy Old Men movies. But yeah, I mean, these guys. I mean, just imagine if Raunchy Comedy had been around at the time.
And turn Walter Matthau loose and turn
Jack Lemmon loose. I mean, just God, these guys would have been epically hilarious. But
well, you know, we've kind of raunchy. Smokey and the Bandit has some raunchy stuff from, especially for the '70s. That was, you know, the language. Jack, you know, nobody'd seen that side of Jackie Gleason before.
Yeah.
And some of the words that came out of his mouth were just jarring at the time. You know?
Yep.
So funny.
What are some of the ones you remember as a kid that really kind of set
Smokey
you off?
Bandit was it.
Smokey and the Bandit,
I loved Smokey and the Bandit. And then The Toy was also very raunchy with Jackie Gleason.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, but Smokey and the Bandit's the first one that pops out, and then probably Animal House after that.
Animal House,
and Blues Brothers. You know, those were my first three real exposures to that kind of.
Yeah, Porkys was a big one for me too, just because it was, you know, it was raunchy in the sense that there was a lot of nudity, but there was also a lot of language in that movie. You know, so it's and the subject matter alone was just, you know, and it spawned a whole genre. If you go back to episode 1 or 2, we talked about the teen romp comedies, and that was definitely one of the pinnacles of that.
Oh yeah,
that kind of started it all and kept it going for quite a while. So yeah, there's all kinds of raunchy comedies out there. I don't think they're stopping anytime soon. I think we're going to see a lot more of them, especially with the guys like Seth Rogen out there and Adam McKay making movies. And I'm all for it. Make me laugh, guys. Do something different. Go outside the norm.
I will go to see movies if it's a comedy and it's something I'm wanting to see.
Yeah.
Most other things I wait till they come out.
Yeah, I'm a big fantasy sci-fi guy because, you know, it is the escapism, and it's on the big screen. It's cool, but other than that, it's comedies. Dramas I'll wait for home. You know, horror movies I tend to wait for home as well, but that's just me. I know you go see horror movies.
Only big ones. I mean, ones that I want to see, like the reboot of My Bloody Valentine, Friday the 13th, Halloween. You know, I went to see those. Yeah. But for the most part, I think they're better to watch at home.
I think they are
feel
too.
more scared.
Get all dark and, you know, cuddle up.
Because you're thinking, shit, somebody could be outside my window.
Exactly, yeah. So, Raunchy Comedies, keep them coming, guys. We love them. And there's some damn good ones out there. We've given you a nice list of them. If you have any others that you know of that we missed, put them in the list
in the notes
down below, and we'll definitely check them out. Hopefully, or we've probably already seen them. But who knows? You never know. So check us out next time. What are we talking about next time, Randy?
Movies and stuff.
Movies and stuff.
Lots of movies and stuff.
Yes.
Maybe raunchy.
Foreign movies. No.
Dog movies.
Movies where dogs hump people. That's the next subject.
That's ridiculousness.
That's ridiculous. Well, thanks for listening, guys. We'll see you next time.
See you later.
Still have no sign off.
Not going to do one. That's going to be our sign off. Is that we don't have one.
See you next time. Bye. Bye.